Welcome Genshin refugees. If you just started playing Wuthering Waves and you have no idea what's going on, I'm here to help. These are the top 10 best characters for a new player to build in Wuthering Waves, bar none. If you're not using one of these characters in 2026, you've probably bricked your account. In this video, you'll learn what the character does, which teams they work on, how to use them, and how relevant they'll be long term, and just the overall value they'll have for your account. Alright, let's get into it. Imith is basically the main character of the story. If you've seen her story quest, you already know you gotta pull this character. She's one of the strongest fusion DPS in the game. She is the strongest fusion burst, which is a negative status, which is a really important mechanic in the game. If you subscribe, I'll explain that in more detail in another video. For now, all you need to know is negative statuses are very important in this game and each element has one. So she's the strongest fusion burst DPS. She works on a lot of different teams, including regular fusion teams. She also works on tune break teams with Lene. Just a highly versatile, very strong, easy to use DPS. She works very well in the endgame modes, both on the hard bosses and in Wuthering Waves, which is about clearing mobs, and as well as End Matrix, which is a boss rush. Basically kills all the endgame modes, and best of all, she's extremely easy to use. One of the downsides of this character is she's kind of too easy to use. It's almost brain dead, as cool as it looks. Also, she's heavily reliant on her teammates, even though she works on a lot of different teams. If you don't have the specific characters for those teams, she doesn't work that way. Now, Hiyuki, I know a lot of you are here for this character. A lot of you came back or started playing this game because of this character. Hiyuki is amazing, one of the best DPS in the game, very free to play friendly, very strong, easy to use once you learn how to play her. Just a very well designed kit. I don't know what it is with Glacio DPS in this game, but they're always designed well. Hiyuki is the strongest Glacio DPS in the game, but she's also another negative status user. She does Glacio Chafe, which builds up stacks and freezes the enemy. She works well in Glacio teams and in Liberation damage teams. She also works well with Lene, but what's different about her and Imith is she works pretty well by herself. She's great in all the endgame modes, whether it's the tower, Whimpering Waste, endgame matrix, or fighting hologram. She has a built-in parry in her heavy attack, so if you get good, you could technically solo any boss, any hologram in this game. Yeah, you just can't go wrong building this character. Definitely one of the top DPS in the game, and it's not going to get power creep for a while. Farlova is probably my favorite character in the game, even if her personality is a bit off. We're talking about gameplay. Farlova is the best Havoc character in the game, no comparison. She can be used as a main DPS or a sub DPS, works in so many different teams, doesn't only just do Havoc damage, but also echo skill damage, which is another meta damage type, which I'll explain in a different video. Just know echo skill damage, tune break damage, and negative status damage are like OP in this game. So yeah, echo skill damage, extremely versatile. She buffs heavy attack damage, so you can use her on a lot of teams outside of echo skill or Havoc. She has an easy to use playstyle, but if you want to get technical, there's a lot of guides to get really sweaty with it. Just like one of the best characters in the game. When it comes to endgame, works well in Tower of Adversity, absolutely breaks Whimpering Waste. The best character for Whimpering Waste in the game, works well enough in endgame matrix, and maybe I have skill issue, but I don't personally think she's the best character to use in holograms, and yeah, that's how I feel about Farlova. Chisa is a funny character because a couple months ago she was absolutely trash, barely worked on any teams, but because of all the characters they added in, she suddenly became one of the best characters ever. Chisa is a Havoc support unit. She applies Havoc Bane, which is a negative status based around the Havoc element that lowers the target's defense. She also buffs all negative statuses by, to keep a long story short, increasing the maximum amount of negative status that can be applied. So basically, any character that does negative status can use this character as a healer on their team, which makes them very important, very valuable. Does a decent amount of healing and provides shield. All around, just a well-rounded support for a negative status team. She also does a decent amount of personal damage if you build her well. If not, doesn't really do that much damage. Also, her rotation, by that I mean the amount of time she takes up on the field, is pretty long, and you don't want her to get interrupted, so it can feel kind of clunky, but goddamn does it look cool. Shorekeeper, probably should have started the video out with this character because she is the most valuable character in the game. Yeah, Shorekeeper's the best character in the game. She's a universal support healer, buffs crit rate and crit damage, all around damage application, can save you from taking a fatal blow, even if you do a rotation right, does a bit of damage herself. Is the best in slot healer for lots and lots of teams, and if it isn't the best in slot, it's usually like the second or third. Just an unescapable, unavoidable character. If you play this game, you have to get them, and what's worse about this character is they're extremely rare. I haven't seen seen this character rerun on a banner since God knows when. Even the new 1.0 banners they're implementing don't have this character on it. I know if you just start the game, there's some sort of beginner-oriented banner that gives you a chance to get this character in 30 days. Do not miss this character. It's the most valuable character in all the games, so make sure you cop it within those 30 days. I don't have this character on my account and I'm suffering. Yeah, I know, crazy. I don't have Shorekeeper, but yeah, don't be like me. Get this character. Extremely valuable. Shorekeeper works in every single endgame mode except Whimpering Waste. Like, you can use her in Whimpering Waste, but I would opt out of using Shorekeeper for a character that also does damage, because you're trying to destroy mobs as quickly as possible. Oftentimes you don't need more damage, you just need consistent DPS. So she's not the best in Whimpering Waste. Obviously you can use her, but it depends on the team. But in any other thing like holograms, tower, endgame matrix, very good character. So Mornier, the way I'll explain Mornier is, if Shorekeeper is the best healer in the game and Chisa's basically the negative status version of Shorekeeper, then Mornier's like the Toon Break version of Shorekeeper. It's a universal support healer that also does an all-around damage amplification, but also increases the rate of Toon Break. And basically this is the best support healer for any teams based around Toon Break damage. However, when it comes to normal teams, she's not usually the best healer to have. One thing though that Mornier does way better than other healers is keep you alive. Has some of the most skill issue oriented passive buffs in the game, like a massive damage reduction. Like if you say are about to get one shot by something, she can make it so that the damage never exceeds 30% of your overall health. Massive damage reductions. Her character stays hovering in the air away from most attacks. Just a very good healer if you're trying to stay alive, and works well in all of the end games except Whimpering Waste, but is very good for killing hologram. Because of that Toon Break buildup as well as the damage reductions, it's like a hologram killer in a unit. You should get this character if you're trying to kill hologram. But as far as the end game goes, she's good in everything except Whimpering Waves, because she takes too long on the field and doesn't do enough damage, in my personal opinion. Sigrika is probably the most slept on character in the game, because a lot of veteran players just have a lot of characters that already fit her role. We have a lot of aerial characters in the game, but the thing is, she's definitely the best aerial character in the game. She's an aerial damage dealer, but also does echo skill damage. However, when you pair her with the echo skill damage buffer, she becomes one of the strongest characters in the game. She does great AoE and crowd control. I don't own the character, but I've heard her playstyle is pretty fun and smooth. Not too confusing, but engaging. Works well on aerial teams, echo damage teams, and aerial erosion teams, which is the negative status for aerial damage. So yeah, just another well-built DPS. It's just that nobody really had a need for her because they had other characters that fill her role. But as a new player, you're in the perfect position to pull one of the best aerial characters in the game. So yeah, works well in tower, one of the best characters in Whimpering Waste. It's probably a tie between her and Farlova for best characters for Whimpering Waste. So yeah, good in endgame matrix. I'm sure she does pretty well against fighting holograms, though I've never tried her myself because I don't own the character. Lucilia is one of the better sub DPS in the game. She buffs two different damage types, Glacial Chafe and Echo Skill. And since Hayuki is the best DPS in the game, you're gonna need a good sub DPS for Hayuki, so that right there makes her a really good character. But she's also buffs echo skill characters, and technically we have a character that does this already, but the fact that she also buffs Glacial Chafe instantly makes her slightly better than Shoyan, who's just an echo skill buffer. Though I heard he does a little more damage than her, so you can't go wrong with either pick if you're going for solely echo skill damage. But Lucilia simply does more. She has a very quick rotation, very simple and easy, can be kind of annoying to not get interrupted, but yeah, very quick, extremely quick on and off the field. And yeah, the fact that she buffs two of the meta damage types in the game makes her must pull if you don't have a way of upgrading those damage types yet. Works in every single game mode, very good in Whimpering Waste, tower, endgame matrix, and fighting holograms. Can be annoying because you're gonna want to watch out and not get one shot while trying to do her kit without getting interrupted, but it doesn't take long for her to be off the field. So yeah, all around a good sub DPS, and is versatile because she buffs two different damage types. Linné, I can't believe it took so long to get to Linné. She is the best sub DPS in the game. Just gives a universal attack amplification on top of liberation damage buffs, and does a ridiculous amount of Toon Break damage for the overall team, to the point where she fits in pretty much every single team. Pair her up with Mornier and you have the wheelchair comp, which allows you to put any main DPS in the main slot and you're clearing content. Also, her rotation is pretty quick and easy. It can feel kind of clunky sometimes, but pretty straightforward. The best thing about Linnea is her versatility. Fits in, like I said, pretty much every single team can benefit from this character, but especially Toon Break teams, Liberation damage teams get extreme buffs from this character. You can use her in every single game mode, but she's not the greatest in Wuthering Waves because it's more about dealing a lot of damage than consistent damage with this character. I don't know what it is about this character. It might be a bit of a skill issue, but I don't find her to be the greatest in Wuthering Waves. It really depends on the buffs, but yeah, I feel like her Toon Break capabilities help more when fighting bosses rather than mobs. And Verena is technically a free character. You can pick her with your free selector like everybody should be doing. And if worse comes to worse, you can get her off the beginner standard banner if you're lucky, but you should just pick this character with your free 5-star select. She's basically mini shorekeeper. All she really does for the team is heal and provide crazy strong attack buffs. I think the best way to describe this character is the Bennett of Wuthering Waves if you've ever played Genshin Impact. Just heals and gives massive attack buffs. And another great thing about this character is the field time is very quick. She gets off the field very quickly, which can be very useful in this game, having a quick rotation. But other than that, most healers outrank her. I think she's better than Mornier in certain situations, but don't quote me on that. But the fact that it is a very free and easily attainable universal healer that gives damage attack buffs is not to be overlooked. Also very easy to build, just give her attack and energy. Just a great beginner healer for a beginner team, or a backup healer if Shorekeeper's busy. And last word of advice, if you've made it this far, we are about to enter a new region, and most likely the new characters will outrank the old ones. So I would advise getting all these characters, maybe build a team around some of the characters I mentioned on this list, and save your asteroid for newer releases because we don't know how strong they are, but they're definitely going to be good. I wouldn't just look at this list and say I need every single character on this list. Just maybe one team around the one you like. Some runner-ups, I would say Augusta, the strongest Electro DPS, though she's pretty old and we don't know if she'll get power crept yet, but she's very free to play friendly, very easy to build a team around this character. So yeah, there's Luke Herson, who is a newer Spectral DPS, one of the strongest DPS in the game, the strongest Toon Break in the game, and has one of the best, if not the best, free to play team in the game, but he's mostly single target and he's extremely hard to learn how to play. Lupa is great for buffing any single fusion type, but is usually not the best in slot for most fusion team. Just a universal fusion buffer if you really like playing the fusion element. Also, this character is really fun to play, probably my favorite character to play next to Farlova. Karchona is also an arrow erosion buffer. Anybody can pretty much benefit from arrow erosion if they use arrow attack, because arrow weakens things to arrow erosion. So I feel like this character is pretty future proof, though I don't think they're the most necessary, and it's mostly just for Cartethia, and like we're probably getting a lot of other options for negative status characters, but at the end of the day, it's a really strong buff to any arrow character with this character on the team. Also, Kyuyon is just as good at buffing echo skill damage, if not better than Lucilia. It's just Lucilia's more versatile. Those are my runner-ups. The video's already way too long. Sorry, I kind of sped run the last part there, but if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Like and subscribe, hype the video please. That's all I got. Peace.